Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome across the fruited plain. It is Eric Erickson here. I am delighted to have you. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, everything you need. We need to talk about what Citibank has done. Citi Group, Citibank, Citi whatever. Citi Group has announced that it is no longer going to debank Second Amendment advocates. Some of you thought it was a conspiracy theory. It was never a conspiracy theory. It was always something real. This is from the Free Press. Citi announces it will prohibit debanking based on political affiliation. The Free Press had been investigating this story for some time. This is from Citi Group. We will update our employee code of conduct and our customer-facing global financial access policy to clearly state that we do not discriminate on the basis of political affiliation in the same way we are clear that we do not discriminate on the basis of other traits, such as race and religion. This will codify what we've long practiced. We also will no longer have a specific policy as it relates to firearms. Our U.S. commercial firearms policy was implemented in 2018 and pertained to sale of firearms by our retail clients and partners. The policy was intended to promote the adoption of best sales practices and prudent risk management and didn't address the manufacturing of firearms. Many retailers have been following these best practices, and we hope communities and lawmakers will continue to seek out ways to prevent the tragic consequences of gun violence. That is from Citi Group. What they're essentially admitting in changing these things is that Citi Group, Citibank, was debanking people who were Second Amendment advocates. This is from Rupa Subramanya at the Free Press from October of 2024. On February 6, 2019, Chris Abdurrahman Balvelt, the founder of the crowdfunding platform Launch Good, received an email from payment processor Stripe. We are glad to have worked alongside Launch Good as you have grown through the years. Nicole Arbordeletta, a sales leader in Stripe's platform, said in an email, however, with that growth has come additional scrutiny of our financial partners, as you are aware. Over the last year, our risk and financial crimes team have worked on behalf of our ability to remediate these issues. However, due to the continued use of workarounds that are not supported by our financial partners, we unfortunately can no longer support your organization. They were shut down because they were a Muslim charity providing aid to the Middle East. It wasn't just him. Other institutions and individuals themselves had problems. Former First Lady Melania Trump alleges in her memoir that both she and her son Barron were debanked. She says, I was shocked and dismayed to learn that my longtime bank decided to terminate my account and deny my son the opportunity to open a new one. Trump's email provider also declined to continue providing her service. The president himself was shut out of a Florida bank account after the January 6th storming of the Capitol. It wasn't just Trump supporters. I know gun manufacturers whose banks have closed them down. Literally, I know a gun store that got a certified letter in the mail with a certified check from the bank saying these are the proceeds of your account. We will no longer do business with you. And they had to scramble because payday was coming up at the end of that week. They had to scramble to find a new bank to deposit the money, get the money approved, and get their new bank account set up to be able to meet payroll. The bank gave them no justification, but it was very clear from talking to people at the bank that it actually was because the bank did not want to do business with a gun store. Debanking has become a trend. And by the way, it's not something that is a both sides thing. This is on the right. I'm sorry, it's on the left targeting the right. It's left wing activists buying shares in major corporations targeting the right. But it's become a problem such that even Democrats are concerned because it's also, for example, Muslim charities that have helped people in Gaza. They've seen themselves shut down. So Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, they're all upset about some of the rulings JP Morgan Chase and Company have done towards left-wing nonprofits, particularly, in their words, the Muslim American community. It goes both ways, but it primarily targets people on the right, by people on the left, by banks on the left. But it's not just banks. Other companies do it as well. So let me give you a Citibank example. We have a listener in our audience. I have verified the story myself. This is a true story. Several years ago, the son of this listener worked as a major executive at Citi Corporation. He chose not to attend a Pride event during the month of June. It was not a mandatory event. He chose not to attend it. It wasn't mandatory. Someone in the company noticed he did not attend the event and asked him why he did not go to the event. He said in private conversation to the individual that he was an evangelical Christian. He did not wish to show his support for Pride Month. Despite saying it in private to a manager, what he said made it through the company, and HR told him basically his time at the company was coming to an end. He could stay where he was, but there would be no more advancement for him at Citi Group. People complained they felt threatened by him. To avoid a lawsuit, they wound up paying him a large severance package. He no longer works at Citi Group. It was a not required event. It was not mandatory. He did not go. It was reported to higher ups. He's no longer there. The left is upset, and what the left is saying is that this is all an overcorrection. This is an overcorrection because Donald Trump is president. No, it's not an overcorrection. It's just a correction back to the norm. It used to be that you and I could do business in this country, work with businesses in this country, have jobs at businesses in this country, and our politics didn't matter. But it was the left that decided that you will be made to care. It was the left that decided your politics did matter. It was the left that decided if you don't believe the right things and say the right things and participate the right way and live your life the certain way, you will be punished. And what left-wing activists did is they bought shares in corporations and they used their clout within corporations to steer those corporations to shut down the business of gun manufacturers and gun merchants. And some banks have refused to even allow you to use your debit card to purchase a gun. They've targeted Donald Trump. They've targeted Melania Trump. They've targeted Barron Trump. They've targeted conservatives around the country. I know more than one conservative who has been targeted by a bank or other business. And then there's the full rush, the shakedown from the left to fund Pride Month and Pride events. And many corporations have decided, you know what, they're tapping out now. They're done. They're not going to participate the way the left has insisted they participate. They're done. And who can blame them? You don't want to participate in the Pride event. You don't want to give money to the Human Rights Campaign. For a long time, these groups had the clout with the President of the United States and others on their side to boycott. And you know, what's so interesting now is that you've got all these media outlets saying, oh my gosh, Donald Trump is shaking down law firms. Oh my gosh, Donald Trump is intimidating businesses. Oh my gosh, these businesses are getting rid of DEI because they're scared of Donald Trump. They put those positions in place at first because they were scared of Obama and Biden. All Donald Trump is doing is saying, you don't have to be scared anymore. You can get rid of this stuff. The Navy is changing the name of a ship named for gay rights icon Harvey Milk, who was assassinated in San Francisco. The Navy decided to, now, full disclosure, Milk was in the Navy, but do you know anything about Milk? He's a gay rights icon. This is the sort of man who's been elevated to icon status by the progressives. Harvey Milk lured and encouraged black people to go to Jonestown, where they were murdered. That's right. The Reverend Jim Jones of Flavor Aid Town, Kool-Aid Town, who committed mass murder at his cult. Harvey Milk was a recruiter for him. Harvey Milk also sexually abused a young man who committed suicide. Those are facts. You can be offended by the facts, but because he became a gay rights icon after being gunned down, the Navy decided it needed to name a ship after him. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I mean, any naval vessel named after Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to stay commissioned long after it should have been decommissioned and ultimately sink. There's no reason to do this. But they did because they had to bow to the left. The Navy, the military bowed to the left. So they named a ship after a man who got a bunch of people killed at Jonestown and caused another person to commit suicide. And the left was totally fine celebrating that guy because of his sexual proclivities. They got Citibank and other major institutional financial institutions to debank gun stores, gun manufacturers, and gun owners. They got stores like Target or corporations like Ford and GM to be shaken down. Even baseball teams got shaken down. Now, every baseball team except the Rangers, and this year the Atlanta Braves did not rainbow up their logo for Pride Month. The Rangers never do. And you know what? The Rangers' position has always been we want everyone to feel welcome every month of the year, not just one month. We're not participating in things on the left or things on the right. And the left has been bullying, badgering, and threatened to boycott the Rangers for years, the Texas Rangers, because the Rangers said we want everyone to be welcome at all times. We're not celebrating Christian things. We're not celebrating pride things. We just want everybody to be welcome. That wasn't good enough for the left. This is the left-wing shakedown. And it's been happening for years. And now Donald Trump is president. And the message is not that you're shaken down for the right. The message is you don't have to be shaken down anymore. Just go do business. Do business with everyone. Don't harass anyone. Don't debank anyone. And what is the reaction of the media? What is the reaction of the press corps? What is the reaction of the left? This is an overcorrection because of Donald Trump. They're scared of Donald Trump. No, they were scared of you people on the left because you were bullies. They, on the left, harassed these businesses. If you didn't want to give the Human Rights Campaign or GLAAD money, you knew you were going to be labeled as a homophobe. You didn't want to hoist the pride flag for Pride Month, you were going to be boycotted by the left. And the media would vilify you. CNBC would run a story. CNBC, I find them to be a better news outlet than most, but even CNBC runs these stories on, did you know the CEO of this company gave money to Trump's inauguration? Did you know this company gives money to conservatives? Everybody needs to know and shun them. It is a bullying operation by the mainstream media. You support the right, you're vilified. Let me read you a quote here. This is from the Free Press. This is a quote from, and let me make sure I get the source right. This is from Ilya Shapiro. Under the Bush administration, it was more focused, and to the extent Americans were ensnared because of the Bank Secrecy Act, it was because they were having communications with foreigners who were under surveillance, says Ilya Shapiro, a constitutional law expert at the Manhattan Institute. Obama turned a lot of that apparatus inward to go after politically incorrect businesses where domestic terrorism could be defined to include even people who show up at school board meetings to protest policies. Emblematic of this inward approach was Operation Choke Point, which the Obama administration launched in 2013, targeting banks whose clients included legal weapons distributors and payday lenders assumed to be at risk of committing fraud or laundering money. The reason that we focused on financial institutions and payment processors is because they are the so-called bottlenecks or choke points in the fraud committed by many merchants, said Michael Brezhnik, the executive director of Obama's Financial Fraud Enforcement Task Force. The problem here is they intentionally used it to go after gun manufacturers and gun stores, Joe Biden himself doubled down on it when he was president, expanding the definition of domestic terrorism. Even people who showed up at school board meetings could risk being debanked. And of course, the media never wants to cover that part of it. What's happening right now is not an overcorrection. What's happening right now is not banks and corporations caving to the Trump administration. It's they're all breathing a sigh of relief that they can go back to normal, where your politics should not determine whether or not you can get a bank account. And under Obama and Biden, your politics did determine that, and the media, complicit with the left, has never wanted to be honest about it.
Those who love them, listen to find out what